Hello, everyone. Welcome to the micro-credential course on emotional intelligence and your co-workers. Emotional intelligence is essential in workplace interactions, helping us understand and connect with colleagues. Today, we will explore how to analyze emotional responses, assess verbal and nonverbal cues, and adapt our interpersonal communication styles for better teamwork. First, we will talk about why we need to understand people's emotions. Being able to read emotions is a valuable skill that can make you more compassionate and understanding in your interactions. Whether it's networking, negotiating, parenting, arguing, or falling in love, emotions play a big role in all these aspects of life. Things can get complicated if you struggle to understand what others are feeling. People with high emotional intelligence are especially good at picking up on subtle emotional signals, whether from close friends, family, or even strangers. They can read these cues effectively and respond in a way that shows they truly understand what's going on. Now, let's shift our focus to verbal communication. Nonverbal communication is often more ambiguous than verbal communication. However, that doesn't mean understanding how someone truly feels just by listening to them is easy. People don't always say exactly what they mean, so picking up on subtle verbal cues is key. To interpret verbal cues, you need to actively engage with your teammates during conversations. One of the best ways to do this is through active listening, a skill that helps you fully understand what someone is saying rather than just hearing the words. Active listening involves 4 key steps. And remember, just being present in the conversation isn't enough. You need to truly engage with your teammates to pick up on their emotions. Here are some key elements to consider when assessing verbal cues. Listen for the tone of voice. Understand the emotional context of what has been said. Ascribe meaning to pauses that occur during speech. Ask open-ended questions to encourage expansiveness. Pay attention to the person's pitch. Paying attention to vocal variety and body language. While verbal communication can clearly express people's feelings, a lot of what we communicate is actually nonverbal and implicit. It's not just about the words we say. To better understand the role of nonverbal communication in daily interactions, we can break it down into different types. Body movements, any kind of motion or gesture. Eye contact and movement, the direction and focus of someone's eyes. Facial expressions, changes in facial features that reveal emotions. Gestures, movements of the head or limbs. Posture, how someone holds their body, which can show confidence, openness, or discomfort. Tone of voice, the way something is said, which can completely change the meaning of words. Since so much communication happens beyond words, paying attention to these nonverbal signals can help us better understand how people really feel. Alright, let's start with something we all do every single day: express emotions through our faces. Our facial expressions are like a universal language that speaks louder than words. No matter where you go in the world, people can recognize emotions like happiness, sadness, or anger just by looking at someone's face. And guess what? There are 7 fundamental emotions that can be identified based on specific facial features. So, let's break them down and see how they show up on our faces. When someone is surprised, they might open their eyes wide, showing the whites above and below the iris. Their forehead may wrinkle horizontally, eyebrows lift, and their mouth might drop open with their teeth slightly apart but not tense. For example, if you unexpectedly receive a birthday gift from an old friend, you might instinctively gasp, widen your eyes, and open your mouth in shock. Now, let's think about a time when you received bad news. Maybe you lost something important or had to say goodbye to a loved one. Sadness has a very distinct facial expression. A sad person might pout their lower lip, their forehead wrinkles forming a triangle shape with the inner part raised, their jaws slightly pushed up, and their eyebrows pulling in and up at the inner corners. Fear is all about tension and redness. When someone is scared, their mouth may be open with lips stretched or pulled back, their eyes widened to the point where the whites above the iris are visible, their forehead wrinkled in the center, and their eyebrows raised together in a straight line. Anger is a very intense emotion, and our face shows it clearly. An angry person might have deep vertical wrinkles between their eyebrows, a slightly protruding lower jaw, lips pressed tightly together in a square shape, wide open eyes, eyebrows lowered and pulled together, and flaring nostrils. Contempt is a tricky one. It's that feeling of superiority or disdain, and it shows up in a very subtle way. When someone feels contempt or disdain, one side of their lips may lift higher than the other, almost like a half smirk. A disgusted person might wrinkle their nose, raise their lower lip slightly, lift their cheeks, pull up their upper eyelid, and have visible lines under their lower eyelid. For example, if someone smells spoiled food, they might instinctively scrunch up their nose and frown in response. Facial expressions are powerful, but they don't tell the whole story. Body language also plays a crucial role in how we express emotions. You can tell a great deal about how someone feels just by observing their posture, gestures, and movements. It has 7 feelings: anger, sadness, fear, happiness, embarrassment, and unexpected movement of the body backwards. So, let's explore how different emotions show up through body language. When someone is angry, their body might show it in several ways: clenched fists, trembling lips, avoiding eye contact, getting too close to others, invading personal space, making big, exaggerated movements, or even using rude gestures. Sadness, on the other hand, is the opposite. A sad person usually has a passive, slumped posture, a trembling lower lip, and speaks in a flat, lifeless tone. They may also suddenly move their body backward, as if withdrawing from the world. Fear shows up in a very physical way. It can be seen in a shaky voice, unsteady breathing, restless movements, pulling limbs in close, keeping arms or legs locked, avoiding eye contact, and tensing up their muscles. Happiness is easy to spot. When someone is happy, their body looks relaxed. Their muscles are at ease, arms and legs are open, not crossed, and their posture appears natural and comfortable. Embarrassment is another interesting one because it can be a mix of emotions like nervousness and discomfort. Someone who feels embarrassed may have a flushed, red face or neck, look down or away from others, change the subject quickly, or force a fake smile. Finally, let's talk about eye contact, the window to the soul. Our eyes can reveal a lot about how we are feeling. If someone's pupils constrict, they're likely uninterested, but if they dilate, it means they're engaged. Similarly, blinking patterns can reveal emotions. People blink 6 to 10 times a minute on average, but frequent blinking might indicate attraction. Tears can also be deceptive. While genuine tears come from strong emotions like sadness, joy, or laughter, some people fake them to manipulate others. Eye contact plays a big role, too. Avoiding it might suggest deception, while intense, unbroken eye contact could be an attempt to intimidate. By paying attention to these subtle cues, you can better understand what someone is really feeling, even if they are not saying it out loud. In addition to reading emotions, understanding the communication styles of your colleagues is critical for effective interaction. There are 4 main interpersonal communication styles. 1. Amiable. These individuals prioritize relationships and tend to speak at a slower pace. They often ask questions and value connection over task completion. 2. Expressive. More dynamic and quick-paced. Expressive individuals focus on relationships but are more likely to share ideas and information openly. 3. Analytical. Analytical communicators focus on tasks and are more reserved in their approach. They prefer to take their time and gather information before responding. 4. Driver. Task-focused and quick-paced. Drivers tend to make demands and expect results. They prioritize efficiency over relationship building. In multicultural teams, it's essential to adapt your communication style to match your colleagues' preferences. For example, American leaders and team members are often seen as drivers, direct, goal-oriented, and assertive. In contrast, Asian leaders and employees tend to take a more collaborative, relationship-focused approach, valuing harmony and teamwork. When working in diverse, multinational teams, it's important to adapt your communication style. A more thoughtful, flexible, and analytical approach can help you connect with team members from different backgrounds and ensure effective collaboration. That brings us to the end of this session on emotional intelligence and your co-workers. By honing your ability to read and interpret both verbal and nonverbal cues and adapting to different interpersonal styles, you can improve workplace communication and build stronger professional relationships. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you for joining this session and see you next time.